I spent 100 days in Valheim, a Viking-themed open-world survival game, but this time with a mod called EpicLoot. And what this mod does is it enables monsters to drop equipments similar to games like Diablo or other RPGs. So without further ado, let's begin. And so we have spawned to the world. Immediately gathered all the stones and wood that was nearby me. I crafted a bunch of stuff, and the most important one would be the stone axe, so I can start gathering some wood to make our base. And with the wooden axe, I started chopping some trees. I then fought my very first enemy in the game, which was a grayling, but the moment I smacked his back, he ran away from me, so I had to chase him down. The chase honestly took a while, but I finally caught him. I continued chopping the small trees near a ocean so I can maybe get some flint along the way. I then found an abandoned watchtower, I guess, and there was a bee here, so I did my best to whack this beehive so I can get the honey. But most importantly, the queen bee, because with the queen bee we can make a beehive. We have now a production of honey in our future base. And killed this lizard right here. It's called a neck, and they drop something called a neck tail, which is going to be very useful later on to make some poison resistance potion. And then look for a good place to put a base, and this place looked really nice. I guess it's pretty spacious. There are no trees, so I guess this is going to be our new base spot. Since the ground wasn't really flat and I didn't have any hoe to level the ground at the moment, I decided to just make my base like float like this using some platforms. Honestly, with a hoe, this would have been way easier because I can just raise the ground, so we don't need that much wood pole. Anyways, for now, this should be enough space since we only have a workbench right now. So we'll keep expanding our base the more stations we have unlocked in the future. I'm not really good with designing a base, so my base will probably look like poop. But as long as there's like a roof, I'm gonna be happy with it. I tried using wooden floorings as roof and it turned out really bad. I can't use the workbench. It seems it needs a proper roof. Then collected a bunch of wood because I ran out and it's very dark right now. You can barely see anything at the night. Anyways, after adding roof to this place, I can finally sleep in the bed. And with a few more finishing touches, our base will be done. I then made myself a cooking station so I can cook my meat so we have some HP from the food buff. And with this, the base was done. Now it was time to hunt some boars for their leather scraps. I also found another abandoned house. This time it had a chest. Hopefully there's a good item here. All I got were some amber and coins. And with enough leather scraps, I could make myself the crude bow. We can now easily hunt some animals from a distance. I then set up all the beehives I can make. These things will give us honey, and honey is a really great source of stamina early game. So with every opportunity I have, I tried to level up my bow because, you know, the higher the level of the bow, the faster the draw time. Continued hunting boars and deers, and once I got enough materials, I will go home and craft myself a new armor set. I'm just happy that I can one-shot everything as long as they're not alerted I'm actually shooting at them. And finally, after killing this 1-star deer, I finally had my very first magic item. As you can see, it's a magic stone axe that has like block plus 5%. It's not really a great item, but I'm very happy that I got this. Upon reaching home, I immediately cooked all the meat I have received on the hunt. I hunted for a long time and I got so many meat. I had to make like a secondary cooking area to make this progress faster. And with both the deer meat and the boar meat, I have more HP than ever after I eat both of them. Anyhow, the grind continues. Finding more queen bees, killing more boars and deers. And from one of the random chests I found in abandoned houses, I got myself a magic wood shield. It had a durability increase of 65%. I'm not sure how helpful this thing is. Upon reaching home, I placed down the other beehives and now I had 6 beehives producing me some honey. I had to say goodbye early to my magic axe because I made myself a flint axe. It was way better than the stone axe. Then collected a bunch of wood. Wood is really essential in this early game. And then I made some improvements on my workbench, like making a tanning rack and a chopping board. By doing so, I unlocked even more recipes in the workbench. I made myself the flint knife since the attack speed was really good, and then crafted myself a whole leather set with all the deer hide I have received so far. And with my new armor set, I decided it was time to fight our very first boss. And with my deer trophies, I summoned the boss, Ichthir. Not sure pronouncing this right. So this boss does, I think, 3 attacks. One would be spewing lightning like that, which you can easily dodge by either sidestepping or rolling over. Another one of its attack was slamming the ground like this, which I can easily dodge just by maintaining distance and shooting with my arrow. I played tag with it for a while, using the stone table as a cover, I guess, since it can't approach me since there's this table that's in between us. I just kept shooting arrows in its face until it will eventually die. And finally, with this last arrow, it died. And I got 2 magical items. Cool. I got a magic flint knife. It didn't really add anything aside from a black percent, so I guess I'm not gonna use it. I decided to summon it again in hopes that I can get something better from it. I easily fought it with my flint knife, just stabbing it from behind. Honestly, I wasn't scared at this boss. I was pretty tanky with both my boar meat and my deer meat. I have like almost 100 HP, I think. And my flint knife honestly did a lot of damage compared to the time I wasted using my bow. Anyways, I defeated it the second time and got myself a rare item called the Stag Breaker. So we now have a pretty cool blunt weapon that can deal AoE damage. For the stats though, it wasn't really appealing. Imbue poison 3% and some stagger. I guess early level items with stats aren't really as OP as we thought, but at the very least it has some stats, right? Extra stats. And it's free, we don't need anything else to make this. And so with a trophy on hand, I placed it in one of the pillars at the starting area. And now I had the power of Ichthir, which reduces the stamina consumption on my jump and running. I then went home and crafted about 3 antler pickaxe, and then, not wasting any time, I looked for the Black Forest. It's crazy how my first encounter with the enemy here was a 2-star skeleton. I'm in deep trouble if I get hit like 2 more times with this guy. I'm gonna die. Good thing we have like a platform here. We can bamboozle them and then kill them with our hammer. As long as we don't get hit, we're fine. I was honestly in danger against this guy. I was scared. I don't want to run here again. It's pretty far from my base, I guess. So using my flint knife, even if I know it didn't really deal that much damage because these skeletons are not really weak to slash or something. It's better to use like blunt weapon against these guys. But well, the knife gave me mobility so I could kill the skeleton like this. Let's go. And I got myself a rare torch. Wow, 5% movement speed. Anyhow, I continued fighting skeletons with the same strategy as the 2-star one. I could just back away and then stab them after they're done attacking. I was looking for burial chambers like this one so I can start farming some of the cores so we can make some portals so we can have an easier time going home and coming back here to the forest. I got this rag item that had glowing in it, so this was the best item to use inside a burial chamber. I'm glowing now. I also have a pants that has like feather fall. It's crazy. The effects of the items here. So the dungeon delving started. I, as much as possible, tried to be safe inside here. I did not want to die from these skeletons. I managed to farm a Surtling core, but as you can see, it's only this one. Nothing else inside this place. I then found this place that looks like it was abandoned. Inside the houses was a bone tower shield that had no movement penalty. I decided to make one of the houses my base here, so I have some place to respawn to if ever I died. Continuing the adventure, I killed a bunch of grey dwarfs and skeletons that were fighting each other. And I noticed that I guess the higher level the monsters, the higher their drop weight was. Because everything kept dropping items now. Compared to like the deers and the boars I've been fighting in the past. Anyhow, I found myself a copper deposit and started grinding for these coppers. After copper, I mined some tin ores. I then fought a bunch of grey dwarfs guarding their summoning thingy. I guess. I'm not sure what to call it. Anyways, I had a hard time with the brute. I had to run away. Look, I got myself a rare pickaxe with attack speed. Ultimately, I died to a brute because I was so bad at guarding and dodging its attack that I just, boom, got yoinked. That's why I am so glad that I made a temporary base just near the Black Forest, or I would have wasted a lot of time trying to get back there. After a lot of running, I finally recovered my items. I then continued my journey to look for even more burial chambers, but I got easily surrounded by grey dwarfs for some reason. I don't know where they came from, but there were a lot of them. But we have the good old stack breaker, which can easily take them out. I easily get overwhelmed with all the items I've been getting so far. Like, these rare ones are way better than the current ones I'm using. Good thing I had a mod that had like a trash feature, so I can easily destroy an item that I've looted that I don't need. So our inventory management isn't that bad. Also, if you notice, I have a mod called ExtendedInventory. So the whole mod list will be in the description if you want to download and try all the mods I've been using. I then found myself some carrot seeds, so I need to start farming this in my base so we get a new type of food to cook once we reach home. Also tried my best to run away against this 1-star brute. I couldn't even defeat a no-star brute, so this one would probably kill me easily. And after a while of looking, I finally found myself a burial chamber. One strategy I did here to make my life easier was close a door on all the skeletons that tried to kill me and use my stag breaker. And if ever there's something like this with their summoning area, I just spam the heck out of my stag breaker. They will get staggered anyways and won't be able to approach me. With EpicLootMod, sometimes chests have a high chance of containing a random item like this one, the bone shield, but I already have one that had no movement penalty, and I think this is the best one currently. I was pretty happy that this chamber had a lot of cores for me to loot, but I didn't stop there. I raided even more burial chambers, and finally I found the stone that would show me where the location of the boss was. I'm very happy to know that it was actually just close to me. I then encountered a ghost in one of the burial chamber. It's one of the early game enemies I really hate because for some reason I don't know how it actually attacks, or it's very threatening. I hate it. Like, look at this thing. It dropped me a bronze spear. This is pretty good, and it's a rare one with no movement penalty and some spirit imbued on it. Even though it had like spirit imbued, the amount of spirit it has was pretty low. But I'm pretty happy that it made the monsters glow, so I have an easier time looking at them when fighting them. And the damage isn't bad actually. It's pretty good. I like it. Free weapon. Let's go. After all the dungeon crawling, I decided it was time to go home. I then decided to expand my base. This area will be for the future portals we're gonna be placing. It's just a small wooden area. Portals don't really need roofs. And well, if I feel like I'm motivated enough, I'll make roofing for this. Then afterwards, with the hoe, I tried leveling the ground just near my beehive, and this area will be our charcoal and furnace area. I guess let the charcoal and the ore production begin. Sleeping actually helped speed up the process, so all I did was slap every material in, then slap. The next day, I continued supplying my charcoal kiln and my furnaces with material so it can keep making stuff. And finally, with enough material, I made myself the forge. In the EpicLootMod, there's a new item called the gold ruby ring, which we can craft. There's no stat in it yet, but once we unlock the enchantment table, we can enchant that ring in hopes for a good stat. It honestly took a while before all my materials were converted into ingots. Finally, with some tin, I can make bronze now and unlock a whole bunch of new recipes. What I'm primarily going for right now would be a bronze axe so we can start chopping some birch so we can get some fine wood so we can make a portal. Also a cultivator so we can start farming our carrot seeds we've recently got. And once I made the bronze axe, I started chopping some birch. And with this, we have unlocked a lot of new recipes as well, especially the fine wood bow, and most importantly, the portal. I continued chopping more birch as I needed more fine wood. Also, I crafted myself a cauldron, unlocking new food recipes like the Queen's Jam. I also crafted an adze. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's a workbench improvement. And I did not forget to improve my forge. I added a cooling table. I also crafted myself an enchanting table. And I also crafted myself a bronze helmet for additional armor since we're pretty squishy. Like, remember how that brute easily killed us? I also crafted myself the bronze pickaxe so we have an easier time mining some ores. For the enchanting table, you need to basically unlock a bunch of stuff. For now, sacrifice is available. We basically sacrifice items, magical items, in order to get stuff like fragments, reagents, to use as enchantments for future items. Like here, as you can see, sacrificing these rare items, I got a bunch of rare ingredients. For the trophies, it gives you like shards. And you can upgrade these materials into higher tier if you need. And also, in order to enchant stuff, you'll need to sacrifice a boss trophy. For a magic rune that is magic tiered, you'll need to sacrifice an Eikthyr trophy. I currently didn't have enough material to unlock the enchantment feature. So for now, I set up my portal area. One portal will be called base, while the other has no tag. So this is gonna be a quick portal. And with the remainder of my bronze, I made myself a fermenting barrel and started crafting a minor healing potion. Anyhow, time to go back to the forest now that we have upgraded gears. Reaching the Black Forest, I made myself a little small base with a portal. If ever I die, I can just teleport back here. Next off, I went back home because I totally forgot to start planting my carrot seeds. So before we start our exploration, I'd like my carrot seeds to start growing, so once I return home, they'll be ready. I only had about 28 seeds, but I think that's enough to like supply us for a while. So farming, here we go! I also installed the mod which enables you to plant berries, so I don't need to look for them all over the map. And once that was done, our adventure continues in the Black Forest. I still wasn't brave enough to defeat the brute, but I did destroy all the other lobby graylings. You know how I was scared against the brute, but I was pretty confident against the troll. Maybe because I played Elden Ring recently that I felt confident about my dodging ability. Just look at these dang moves. And thankfully, this guy was pretty weak to pierce, and it was actually a 1-star troll. If this thing hits me, I'm dead. And just as I said that, yeah, I got pretty cocky and died. I then retrieved my items, and we'll fight this troll using a bow instead. I had to eat some food first, so we have some stamina. I patiently fought this troll, just walking around, maintaining my distance, and every time I recover some stamina, I would shoot its head in hopes for a good damage. Honestly, lasted for a while, and there were some annoying Grey Dwarf Shaman that healed the troll, and that really made me so angry because, you know, I'm doing my best here. It kept healing it. I didn't let that thing ruin my concentration and focusing on the troll because I know I'm gonna die in one shot if I get hit. So all my focus is on the troll right now. I did not care about the Grey Dwarfs that were surrounding me. And with some patience and concentration, I have defeated the troll. Now it was time to defeat all these annoying Grey Dwarves. I got myself a cultivator, a rare cultivator. I believe this is from the troll. I'm pretty happy to get this cultivator. Since there was still a troll cave here, I decided to go home for now, setting up my portal, and I will come back for it. I just wanted to disassemble all the items I have gained so far. And afterwards, I went back to the troll cave. I'm very happy to see that it's not a 1-star or 2-star troll, and I was easily defeating this thing. I had, like, I guess enough HP to survive one attack. So, I'm not really as scared as the 1-star troll, and I'm feeling pretty brave doing melee attacks on this thing. And with enough stabbing action, I have defeated the troll. One of the chests here actually contained a magic bronze helmet. Sadly, the enhancements were A tier, which we don't really have magic right now. So this was pretty useless, but I'm still happy to get a bronze helmet. I totally didn't notice, but I actually got a troll armor as well. Anyhow, the ore grind continues because I needed more tin and copper. Since I really hated the movement speed penalty from having a bronze armor, I decided to just craft a troll armor instead. If you notice, I have a function called recycle. It's a recycle mod which returns all the items used in crafting a certain gear. Honestly, this epic loot mod works very well with this mod since I can get back some items instead of just trashing the items. Anyways, on the enchanting table, I unlock a feature called the augment. What it actually does is I can change a certain stat to another stat. So this is pretty random, so what I got is kind of bad as well, so it wasn't worth the materials used. So right now, the only thing left to do was prepare for my fight with the Elder. I already have the Ancient Seeds. I got this from defeating a bunch of brutes. And while on my way to the Elder, I saw a troll destroying some skeletons. So I decided, sure, why not? I'll just kill this thing. And also, I'll raid this burial chamber that's here to get even more cores for more portals in the future. And upon defeating this troll, I actually got lucky and got myself a rare bronze pickaxe, which had like pretty bad enchantment stats. But hey, I got a bronze pickaxe. Anyways, after all my shenanigans, I had summoned the Elder Boss. So my only tactic on this guy is to burn it to death with my bow and arrow. This guy's attack has this thing which he summons a bunch of roots to, deal damage to me. But because we have a wall here, we're pretty safe. Another of these attacks was to summon a bunch of roots that would slap me to death. But, well, we can easily avoid it by running away at the area. He also does this melee attack where he stomps the ground. I got stuck here and I almost died from the roots. Like, I was almost dead. Thankfully, I had a minor HP potion to heal my life that was near death. This fight was pretty long. It's just me hiding behind some pillars while regenerating some stamina and shooting some fire arrows in its face, hoping it will burn to death. And finally, we have defeated the Elder and got ourselves the Swamp Key. So our next goal is to locate the swamp. I got myself a magic bronze buckler shield from defeating the Elder. I then hang the trophy and now I can activate the power of the Elder, which enables me to have an easier time logging wood. And so using this power, I chop some wood with higher damage to the wood now. It only takes me a few hits before I can chop the birch. I then expanded my base. This area will be for my fermentation barrel as well as for future stations that we'll be getting after defeating a bunch of bosses. It's a similar structure to the ones beside it because, I didn't want any more creative ideas flowing in my brain. It's basically just an extra space. I placed down about 6 fermenters and this should be enough. Since our plan was to go to the swamp, I crafted a bunch of poison resistance potion as well as some minor healing potions and minor stamina potions. I didn't notice, but having a roof on this cauldron area actually killed me because of the smoke. Well, on my farm, my carrot was ready, and after harvesting a bunch of carrots, I got new recipes for new food. I made a bunch of deer stew since it gave like 45 health. This will be an exchange to our honey that we eat. I resumed my adventure and remember that 1-star brute? Okay, this time we have like a full set of bronze gears, troll gears. For sure, I will defeat this thing way easier than how we suffered before. But still, why are these brutes so strong? Like, they're stronger than the freaking trolls if I don't time my block right. Just look at this thing whacking. But I got the advantage of just timing my block. And I defeated it. I forgot to mention, I actually crafted myself a bronze mace. So, I'm gonna raid more burial chambers. And this time, we have a better blunt weapon than before. So, this thing will be much easier than before. My goal was to secure more cores so we can have more portals in the future. Because I was actually running out of cores. Anyways, I continued my journey in looking for a swamp. And I found a merchant. Awesome. With the epic loot mod, this merchant actually sells a lot of various things. And there are also bounties I can do. Wow, I can get like medals from this to improve our, I guess, enchantment table. As well as the medals to buy like other stuff. So with enough gold, I can actually buy iron gears now. So how this works is once we defeat a certain boss, it will unlock the next tiered gears. So let's say if we defeated the Bonemass, we'll unlock things like silver swords and stuff. I went home for now so I can grab a lot of gold and treasure in my base. And so with the gold on hand, I bought myself an iron sword. And it was just a magic iron sword, but it's still an iron sword, so I'm gonna be using this than my bronze spear. I also accepted 2 bounties and see how strong they are. For the first one, it was this lizard right here called Anger the Brute, and it was just one shot. Amazing. Since the other one was pretty easy, I was thinking this guy was easy as well. I did not realize that this thing was actually a 2-star troll. I tried blocking its attack and yeah, this happened. I got deleted so fast. So I just went back to grab my item and ran away. I did not want to fight this at all. Anyways, I tried enchanting my gold ring and I got a health regeneration 1%. That's pretty bad. So I tried the augmentation and I got an option to get like +5 luck. In this game, luck means, I believe, a better chance of getting better items. I then went back to the merchant and see what else he was selling. He was selling a serpent scale shield as well as an abyssal harpoon. I was pretty interested in both of these, so I bought them. For the shield, I got a magic rarity, and for the harpoon, I got a rare one. This thing had lifesteal, and lifesteal is amazing in most games. % only though. Anyways, I resumed my grind on burial chambers, trying to get more cores. I just grinded for a while before I resumed my journey again to try and locate wherever the swamp was. And after a really long journey, I finally found it. So I placed down a portal before I resumed my adventure. I first went home and took care of my farm, added a bunch of new stuff like the thistle, the red mushroom, the glowing mushroom, and the dandelions. And finally went back to my portal and tried to defeat some Draugr. Hopefully they drop like iron stuff for me. I journeyed through the swamps to look for the crypt so I can start getting some iron. I then had a rather unfortunate encounter with an abomination, so I tried my best to run away. Had an encounter with a blob, and this reminded me that I should drink a poison resistance potion. But for now, my attention was attracted by this green blob right here, the guck sack, because I wanted some guck so I can make the bow. I then found an area which kept summoning some suitors. So what I'm gonna do here is maybe dig up a hole so they will always, you know, get sink or get watered in their faces and they will just die naturally. And with this, I can set up a portal called the core farm since these things drop some cores. And just close by was the crypt, so I set up the portal here and I'll just visit the suitor from time to time. I went home first to repair stuff and gather all the potions I've made so far. I then slept for that rested buff before resuming my journey. Something amazing happened as I went back to my core farm. I saw a green light. Green means a legendary item. And as I checked my inventory, it was a legendary bronze pickaxe with amazing stats like decreased stamina use, more attack speed, and an additional pickaxe skill. And it was indestructible, meaning it doesn't lose durability. So we're gonna have a fast time in mining some irons inside the crypt. Going inside the crypt with my key, I was met with a lot of Draugrs inside here, which wasn't really hard to deal with since I had a iron sledgehammer, which I can just smash and defeat all of them in one go. Easily mined the area with our legendary pickaxe. Look how fast I'm mining this thing. And dealt with a bunch of enemies with my sledgehammer very easily. I went home from time to time to smelt all the irons I've collected so far, and then since I unlocked something called the hearth, or hearth, how do you pronounce this? Anyways, it's an area with the fire. So I made a little cooking area. I then went back to the merchant to see what he was selling. He was selling an iron axe and I needed this, so I bought one. And I got myself a magic rarity. I tried again and this time it was a mythic rarity. Way better than a legendary. Like, wow, look at his stats and it's throwable. For now, I just rested a bit at the base, just chopping some birch for more fine wood while waiting for all the scrap irons to process. I then crafted myself a new bow called the Huntsman Bow, then resumed my journey at the Sunken Crypts for more iron. Right now, it's already pretty satisfied with the amount of irons I have as well as my gears. I was only looking for a few more things. One would be the boss thingy that shows you where the location is. And another was a seed for onion. So all I've been doing really was just raiding some crypts, smelting all the irons I've got so far, and rinse and repeat until we find the boss location thingy. Also, while encountering this random leech, I killed it and got myself a legendary bronze buckler. Look at this. Well, the stats aren't really that good, but it's a legendary, so I'm gonna be wearing it. Also forgot to mention, if you notice, my mace is now an iron mace. I had a lot of iron piled up already, so I made myself one iron mace. Because I guess Bonemass will be weak to blunt damage since it's like a giant slime. I had this one unfortunate event near a sunken crypt. Good thing I decided to craft a portal before fighting this 1-star archer. I was honestly underestimating this thing and one-shot me when my health was just below 22. Anyways, that didn't stop me from continuing my grind inside the crypts for the boss location thingy. I then encountered another abomination, so I decided to challenge it. Not with my fist, of course. I just sank randomly in the water and I was using my fist. Anyway, since we have this mythic axe, I tried to fight this, but I did not expect a lot of mobs to suddenly just gather in the area, especially this wraith right here. I wasn't expecting this thing to actually come and chase me down. And so, unfortunately, I died. I tried retrieving my item, but for some reason, I couldn't retrieve it all. I had to click the take it all button and I died again. On the third try though, I was kind of ready. I grabbed my items, ran away as fast as I could, and I will teleport home, store some stuff, then come back for the remainder of the items. I'd say that the swamp is the area I don't like that much in Valheim because it's so dark. And you get the wet debuff, plus the, the random enemies you can't see, and the freaking 1-star, 2-star archer droggers that can sometimes one-shot you. After I was ready in both health, items, and mental, I came back for my items. I tried challenging the abomination again, but I was again ganged by a lot of monsters, and ultimately I died again. I hate it. While raiding the crypts and on the grind for more iron, well, not really iron, I'm just looking for the boss thingy. I got myself an iron shield. It's a tower shield. I'm not really a fan of tower shields, but yeah, I got the tower shield, so I'm using it right now. And finally, after searching for a while, I finally found it. The boss location thingy. I just need to clear the monsters here and I can interact with it. Interacting with it, I saw the location and it's pretty far. It's time to go to the next area. I visited the merchant again and bought a ring. What it does is it detects treasure. So let's say we bought a treasure map. This thing will tingle or twing twing like a wishbone. So I tried it out. There was a treasure map for the meadows. So I wore the ring and was trying to look around and see if it would tingle. And it did. So I tried to follow wherever the heck the treasure was, and it was just a chest outside, and it contained tokens as well as a bunch of magic items. So I assumed that, let's say we would bought like a treasure map for the swamp, I guess it will give us the same rarity, like maybe rare or epic, and then it'll be like iron stuff or maybe bronze stuff. So with that in mind, I would love to find the treasure near the swamp. For now, since there was a bounty just nearby the treasure chest I got, I fought this boar and then, yeah, bounty vanquished. I killed another one of those lizard bounties. They were pretty easy to do. The rewards is bad though. It's just a couple of like the tokens and some coins compared to like Let's say that 2-star troll maybe. I honestly just needed to do the bounty so I can unlock the disenchant feature. So what this does is it removes the enchantment of an item so we can enchant it again. But I think there was a chance to retrieve all the materials used, but you still need some tokens again to disenchant something. Anyways, it was now time to set sail towards where the Bonemass is. On the way, I found the Leviathan. I'm actually not sure if it's called a Leviathan or a giant turtle. But anyways, I mined the Abyssal Barnacle to get some chitin out of these things. I managed to farm a bunch of them before it sank to the ocean. Thank God we have this legendary pickaxe with very fast attack speed. Afterwards, I resumed my journey and found the swamp where the Bonemass was. For now, I returned home. I first wanted to go to the previous swamp we were at before, and I found myself this legendary huntsman bow. I was pretty happy with it. There's a reduction in the stamina use, and it imbues frost. It's only 3 though, but yeah, at the very least, right? I then crafted myself a bunch of food like the deer stew, the minced meat sauce. I didn't craft a lot since I know I'm gonna be changing food soon once I get some onion seeds. Anyways, resuming the journey, I finally reached where the Bonemass was. I need to set up first the area of battle by plowing the land so we don't, suddenly get sunk in the puddles here. I also made sure that we had a portal nearby if ever we die. And after I was ready with everything, I summoned the Bonemass. Honestly, this thing wasn't a threat. It's pretty easy to kill because it's weak to blunt damage. And it does I guess 4 or 5 attacks. One is throwing that thing, which he summons blobs and skeletons. Another is spewing poison just like that in order to poison me, but we have the poison resistance potion. And aside from that, it's just a swipe left and then a swipe right, and sometimes I think dual hand attack, like a stump. And once you get the gist of how it attacks, you can basically just tank the poison since you have a resistant potion. The only thing we need to really watch out for is the swipe attack. But I guess you could say that because I thought that it was easy, I made a mistake and I died for it. Good thing we had a portal nearby. I then went back to fight the Bonemass again, but I need to take care of this 2-star Draugr first. I think this guy was the one who made me lose. Not that I have any skill issue or something on dodging. Anyways, just to play it safe, I'm gonna hide for now until my potion cooldown is up so I can heal up for a bit. And once I popped out the potion, it was time to go ham and slap this thing with my mace until it eventually died. So upon defeating this guy, I got the wishbone, and with this, we can now locate some silver veins in the mountains. Another item it dropped was an iron pickaxe, so we don't need to make one. And then there was this epic iron helmet. Yes, sir! It had a health regeneration and stamina regeneration, so I'm pretty happy with this loot. Anyhow, I recycled most of this stuff so I can upgrade the new ones. I then visited the merchant to see if he was selling any good silver stuff, and there was this tempting Draugr fang I wanted to buy. But no, I think we can just find one from killing monsters. So I just saved some gold for now and went for the nearby bounties. For this one, I just needed to defeat this shaman right here. He was Akusha, the betrayer. I'm not pronouncing this right, I swear to God. Anyways, it's this thing right here. I think it's a tier 2 shaman. It was pretty tanky after all. Well, since we have iron gears already, this thing wasn't a threat at all. Moving on, I went back to the swamps and searched for that dang onion. I just can't find the dang onion seeds. I just need onion. I looked for any sign of a plant that I can pick off to get the seed, but I just can't find one. Why? Also, since I had a perfect opportunity to fight an abomination, I fought an abomination. There wasn't really a lot of mobs surrounding this, so I easily dodged its attack and sliced it with my sword. A few more slashes and it died, and I earned a bunch of new recipes from looting its materials. From looking around for that seed, I stumbled upon a plane. I was very hopeful that there was a treasure chest in this area here, and that I might be able to get some seeds, but no, there's nothing here. I was honestly so scared when a random mosquito decided to attack me, but good thing I knew how to fight this off. I'm not sure why it got damaged. I think maybe I have an item that had thorns in it that reflected the damage back to it. So as you can see here, it died. I think my shield has thorns. Another mosquito attacked me and it dropped a silver sword with lightning imbued to it. Nice. I totally forgot about it, but I went to the shrine and hang the Bonemass trophy. And now we have the power of the Bonemass. Once activated, we have a very high resistance to physical damage. And this thing is going to be so useful later on. Anyways, I continued my journeys in the swamp. I bought another treasure map for a swamp chest, and I got a bunch of tokens and some epic axe and shield, but it's just bronze, sadly. And finally, there it was. After a long time of searching, there was the turnip seed I was looking for. Not actually onion, but turnip. Anyways, just nearby the swamp was a mountain. So with my frost resistant potion, I activated it and tried to climb the mountain and search for a silver ore, as well as some monsters here, specifically the wolves, so we can get their pelt and then craft the armor. The first monster I encountered here though was a drake, and it took like 3 full charge bow and arrow before I killed it, so it was a hassle to fight this thing. But then again, it's only 3 arrows. I then mined something called an obsidian deposit. Sadly, we can no longer use our bronze pickaxe since it wasn't strong enough to deal damage to either obsidian or silver. And wow, how rude, this wolf. I love my sword. I love the lightning. It actually staggers them, or maybe the damage staggers them. I'm not sure anymore. But anyways, I killed my first wolf in the mountains. The grind continues, and I still haven't found any silver ore yet. But I did get a bunch of items from killing wolves and drakes. And eventually the wishbone told me, or it was blinking very fast, that there was silver here. So I made myself a portal if ever we need to go home, as well as if ever we die or something, we can just teleport back. And so the grind for the silver vein begins. I gotta grab a bunch of them, go home, smelt them, and then come back afterwards. So what I basically do is just collect like 40 of them, go home, start smelting them, and then go back to mine some more, and rinse repeat until we have enough silver to upgrade our sword, make some armor, and etc. While minding my own business, mining some silver ores, I had an encounter with a fenring. It was pretty tanky, honestly. Like, I couldn't deal that much damage, and its jump attack was crazy. Like, it took like half my health, or more than half my health, and I was actually dying and scared that I might die to this thing. But thankfully, we have a portal nearby, so if ever we die, we can just come back very fast. Aha! I emerged victorious, and I got myself a Fenrir hood. Let's go! The grind never stops. The grind never stops. I then went home and made myself a butcher table. That made my cauldron to level 2, which made me had access to making some sausages and muckshake, a new type of food that we can eat so we have more stamina and more health. I then crafted myself the Drake helmet for extra defense and a Draugr fang. My huntsman bow wasn't doing a lot of damage as I expected it to be. I then crafted a bunch of fire arrows because I think those guys are weak to fire. The drakes, the wolves, and the dragon, the Modor, the boss we're gonna fight soon. Afterwards, I continued mining more silver. I then bought some thunderstone and emir flesh from the merchant. I wanted to make a frostnir with this flesh. Continued to grind some more with coal and silver. Continuing my adventures, I then killed a wolf that dropped an iron grebe, which had like an air jump. And what it did was like a double jump. And that's pretty cool. And then found this random golem that wanted to kill me. So I activated my Bonemass so I don't die from anything of its attack. Because this thing is lethal. Like, it does so much damage that without the Bonemass, I'm just gonna cry. So, doing my best, I tried to defeat the golem as fast as I could before Bonemass buff runs out. And luckily, some monsters decided to help me out in defeating this golem. I'm very happy to see that they're all killing each other so I can take their loots. With the golem defeated, we got ourselves some crystals, which gave us new recipes for new stuff. I then found a cave up in the mountains and decided to go inside it. This is the Frost Caves. Insides were a lot of demonic looking dogs. And I'm kind of scared, but they were pretty soft with one shot on my sword. And deeper inside the cave, I got a bunch of Fenrir materials like the hair, the nails. It wasn't really a big cave. I only encountered the demonic wolves. So yeah, time to head out. Afterwards, I found this broken structure with the thing that shows us where the boss is. So it was very close. Happy with this. And since we already know the boss location, I went home for now to manage my farm. I never really planted the onion seeds I wanted to get so bad like earlier. Now we're planting it. I then went to the merchant to buy a rare Frostnir in hopes for something that gives like a really good stat. And looking at the Frostnir, it's... But hey, it had like 0.5% lifesteal, and I think that's pretty big. Imagine if we hit like 100, we'd get about... very low lifesteal. Lifesteal is lifesteal. Also, with the onions ready, I can make myself this spice rack, unlocking new recipes for food. Specifically, this thing here called ice cream. It is made from frost glands and the Grey Dwarf Eye. I don't really want to use my Grey Dwarf Eye. It's a valuable resource for portals. But it's the best stamina food I have right now. Since we already found the boss location, all we really need to do is find some dragon eggs. And I found some right here, just close to the boss. How convenient, right? And with everything ready, I placed down the eggs. Not planning to summon it yet though. I feel like I wasn't ready at the moment. Maybe a bit more grinding and I'll be ready. After all my shenanigans, I decided to summon the boss. So there are two ways I can fight this. Either just shoot with my arrows long range and hide behind its summoning altar so his frost attack from the air doesn't hit me. Another would be using the Bonemass spirit to fight it in melee because I wouldn't want to risk dying from this guy. I'm not really good at dodging, so I'd rather be confident with a Bonemass and just tank everything it does. So this went on for a while, just me stabbing the dragon in the face until like he flies away. And then I shoot it with my fire arrows in the air, hoping it would die from burn and poison because my Draugr Fang has poison, while evading all of its like ice projectile. By this time, my Bonemass buff ran out, so I have to be safe just by shooting maybe my bow and arrow on this guy, or just be on a safe distance or something. And with this final shot, I have defeated Moder. I got the trophy and a couple of dragon tears. And since we already defeated Moder, we don't really need the Fang Spear anymore, so I recycled everything so I can upgrade my other stuff. I then made myself the artisan table, which unlocked a couple of new recipes like the stone oven and the blast furnace. as well as the windmill and the spinning wheel. We need to get materials first at the plains before we can do anything about these new stations. For now, I went to the shrine to hang the trophy we just got. And what it does is when we're sailing, it's always going to be tailwind. I then went on a bounty hunt because, you know, man needs some gold coins as well as some medals. And I'm going to fight this 2-star ghost right here who looks like they're very strong. But worry not, we have a legendary silver weapon, and with silver weapon, there's some spirit imbued on it, and it's easy to defeat spirits with this. Afterwards, I went to the swamp where we encountered a Datsquito, and here we found the plains, and a Datsquito waiting to greet us. I then found a new food type here called the cloud berries. We can now make something like a medium stamina mead to put in the fermenter. I then saw a fueling village and immediately I thought I should snipe this berserker and kill it from afar. But yeah, we're not that strong. They'll probably reach us. So I'm not really scared since I have the Bonemass buff. There were also this very annoying mage fuelings that have like magical barriers, I guess, and they attack like fire magic that burns us to death. And like I said, I'm not really worried about these guys. For some reason, I'm very tanky right now, and especially with the Bonemass, I have nothing to fear. There was this legendary item right here I just couldn't loot because it was stuck in tar. So I needed to figure out a way to get this thing. So how we basically get this item is by digging a hole. The tar would drain towards the hole and now we can pick up the items. And with this, I got myself another legendary silver sword, but the stats are pretty bad compared to the current one we have. Anyways, I continued raiding the fueling village, and there was a 2-star fueling that was really tanky and strong. I really hate 1 and 2-star enemies. They're just too strong, man. I had a really risky battle here with the 2-star fueling because in one more hit, I would die, and yeah, I died. Thankfully though, we had our portal in the swamp, so I can easily just go back to my dead body. And with no more friends to help this guy, I defeated him easily. I then went home for now to sort out all the loots I've recently gotten from the fueling village. I then made myself the blast furnace so we can process all the black metal scraps we got from the fuelings. I then went back to the fueling village and harvested all the flax and barley they had. I'm gonna be replanting a bunch of them so we can have an unlimited supply of them. I also looted a bunch of tar from this tar pit right here. I got myself an epic black metal shield from all the loot I've gotten from all that fueling battles. That stats isn't that great though, so I was thinking of maybe sticking to my silver shield for now. But it had like more blocking power since it was a black metal shield already. I then made an upgrade to my cauldron by crafting this thing called the pots and pans. I also crafted 2 ovens so I can start cooking or baking some bread. Process some of my flax, making sure I leave some for farming. I then continued working on the farm in the plains so we can have our unlimited supply of flax and barley. But most importantly, just the barley. I also harvested some of the onions that were ready in my base, as well as the turnip seeds that I've been trying to grow so we can keep planting some turnips as well. I then crafted a windmill so we can start processing our barley into flour. Then I resumed my journey in the plains to look for more villages in order to look for 5 totems in order to summon the boss in this place called Yagluth. Pretty happy to encounter a lot of cloud berries on this journey because we need this for the medium stamina potions. After finding a village, I then made a portal so if we die, you know the gist. I would die and I would come back for my items. And since we have our Bonemass buff ready, I wasn't scared of anything. I defeated all the fuelings one by one, activating a bunch of my stamina potions in order to keep fighting even when I was tired. And I always target the shaman first since my Bonemass buff cannot really defend against magic. Then everything else is easy enough. I still have some health potions as well if ever my health goes down, but as you can see, it's on cooldown right now. But anyhow, we have our Bonemass buff, so nothing to fear except for the burn maybe. I'm not sure where I got this, but I got some totems, maybe by defeating the shaman or the berserker. I also got myself a black metal axe I can use, an upgrade to our iron axe, even though it's not mythic. I went home and then continued the raid. I went home to salvage a bunch of the items I've looted so far. Also convert them into maybe enchanting materials. And now the only thing left to do was defeat every remainder of the fuelings and maybe loot some of their barleys and flax if they have some. One of the best thing of this game is blocking an attack of an enemy. It staggers them to the point that you can do critical hits and make it easier to like kill them. Like this. One of the loots I got was this Frostnir with 2.5% lifesteal and it's throwable as well. Let's go. Seems like I also looted myself an epic porcupine, but the stats doesn't look that good, but 9% physical damage with an imbued spirit was pretty appealing. I then worked on my base for now, making some bread. Afterwards, I went back to the plane and fought a lock so we can unlock new materials. The meat and their hide would unlock like a recipe for new food and a cave and other stuff. I'm honestly very dependent on my Bonemass skill because if you have this activated, you're basically like a very tanky machine. I continued exploring the area, killing a bunch of locks. I still have some of my Bonemass buffs, so I had nothing to fear right now. One of the thing I noticed, even though I already played this game a few times, was I can actually block the lock's attack, like the stomp attack. And it would enable me to crit them, making it easier to defeat them. I do sometimes fail, however. I guess just get good. But luckily, we got helped by the black slimes where we also need to defeat them or else they'll kill us. These things are cold growth and they're very annoying because they tar you up. They will just slow you down. But thankfully, we have our frost spirit weapon, the Frostnir, and it made it easier for us to kill this thing. With the lox meat we got, I then crafted a bunch of unbaked lox pie. We need to cook this in the oven first before we can eat it. I also bake a bunch of bread. And honestly, both of these consume a lot of flour. So I'm waiting for my barley farm to fully grown. Since I already fully explored the plains which I was currently at, it was now time to sail to the other side that looked like it had land. And with the power of Modder, this was pretty easy because we always have that tailwind on us. And thankfully, the other island was another plain, so we don't need to waste time looking for the plains. I forgot to mention, but I don't remember when I got this, but I got this legendary wolf fur cape. And it had like amazing stats like luck, glowing, health regeneration, and even 17% of fire reduction that is gonna help a lot on the Yagluth fight. I didn't like the carry weight though since we already have the extended player inventory mod, so I changed it to something else. All armor plus 18% sign me up. On this new island, I found another fueling village, so of course I raided it. It went fairly fast as there was no shaman or no berserker here, but there was the growth that was pretty annoying. Anyhow, after dealing with all the enemies, I took all the flax and barleys this village had. I just needed one more thing before we initiate the fight with the Yagluth, the fire resistance potion. For now, I'm just waiting for all the potions I've been fermenting so I can insert the fire resistance potion. All that's really left for me now was to prepare for the Yagluth farm. So I made a bunch of frost arrows with all the materials I had, as well as making some needle arrows. I then went and did random stuff in the Black Forest, like raiding a troll caves to get some gold. Also, burial chambers as they contain a lot of treasures to sell to the merchant. I then fought Bonemass again just to get his trophy to convert it into an epic runestone so I can enchant an item to epic. Fighting this Bonemass was pretty easy with my Frostnir. I'm doing a lot of spirit and blunt weapon damage. I didn't even need to activate my Bonemass buff as I was really tanky right now and my Frostnir had that lifesteal. So I crafted a silver ring and enchanted it with epic, hoping I would get something good. As you can see, I got some luck and movement speed as well as some elemental damage reduction. That's pretty good. Don't really need our wishbone anymore. One thing I could have done was disenchant the wishbone and then enchant it again with epic, so it might get like a good stat. But then again, it would remove the effect of secret finding. I continued fighting the Bonemass while waiting for our fire resistance potion to finish. I wanted to enchant my armor to epic as well. And upon enchanting my armor, the stats were pretty bad. So I'm probably gonna stick with my iron armor that had a pretty decent epic stats. As you can see here, movement skill and health regeneration. Next up, I upgraded most of my chests to the black metal chests, which had more inventory slots on them. I then went back to the plains to defeat a couple more lucks for their materials, especially the meat. I then found the Yagluth summoning area. They're pretty easy to find with the giant stone hand that's like trying to hold something. I placed down all the totems needed to summon Yagluth, but for now, I'm gonna grind some more. Like, do some bounties. And with my fire resistance potion ready, I summoned Yagluth. The moment it was summoned, I spammed the heck out of my frost arrow in its hands that's just starting to crawl out of the ground. And with the power of Bonemass, I was ready to tank everything he's gonna throw at me and just slam his face again and again. I actually did not expect the lifesteal to be this good. Look at my HP. It just goes up and down because of the lifesteal. And I have a spare stamina potion to keep going until like we run out and I just need to run away and like regenerate my stamina. Come back again for that melee fight. Frostnir is a really good weapon against Yagluth because it deals like spirit and frost damage. I'm not entirely sure if it's weak to frost, but I've been using the frost arrow to fight him ever since. So I'm assuming it is. And it's also a blood weapon damage and Yagluth is like a giant bone. Anyways, I did a repeating action of just charging in its face and smashing it with my Frostnir. I feared nothing with my lifesteal, and whenever I ran out of stamina, I just run away. I then go near him again once my stamina recovers, but you can see the burn is actually doing a lot of damage. So sometimes my lifesteal can't keep up, but we have our HP potion if ever that happens. Not wasting a precious second on our Bonemass buff, I continued slapping Yagluth in the face with our Frostnir. It really wasn't that hard compared to how I fought this guy before without a lifesteal. I just used my bow and arrow and just go in whenever my potion is already in cooldown. But this time, we defeated Yagluth purely on melee, I guess. Except for the very first round where we spammed arrows on its face. Anyways, we have defeated Yagluth. Let's go. And our next target is the Mistlands. For the loots, we got ourselves an epic black metal sword. The stats isn't really that great. As well as an epic padded helmet, which is way better than the current helmet we have. Before I returned home though, I decided to fight my bounties, which were 2 1-star death ketos. They were pretty annoying to fight, but with my bow and arrow, I just waited for the perfect opportunity to hit them in the face. And holy, that damage. I'm 2-shot to death against this guy. He is also 2-shot, so yeah. Upon returning home, I crafted myself the Wisp Fountain. I just needed to wait for a while before the Wisp will be lured to this and we can take it. And there we go. After a while, a Wisp spawned. I got it, and now I can make the thing called a Wisp Light. This will enable us to remove the mist wherever we are in Mistland, only at a very small radius though. Anyhow, I came back to Yagluth's summoning area because I totally did not pick up the trophy. I'm pretty dumb. I'm so glad I found it eventually though. Good thing there were like a sparkle of light on item drops. I then went to my shrine and hanged the Yagluth trophy. I then went to my flax and barley farm and harvested everything I have planted so far. I processed almost everything since I had a lot. I also crafted myself another spinning wheel to make the job faster in processing the flax. I then replanted everything with barley as I didn't need flax anymore. I just needed the bread dough since we still need it even if we've gone to like Mistland and Ashlands. The bread dough is always important. The only thing left to do now was to locate wherever the Mistlands was. And since our ultimate goal was to go to the Ashlands, I'll look for the Mistlands at the bottom part of the map so we can easily go to the Ashlands once we're done with the Mistlands. I then went to the merchant for now, and I was very tempted to buy the feather cape, so we have an early feather fall. But well, I didn't really have gold right now. I've spent most of my gold buying random stuff early game. For now, I just made a boat and set sail towards the bottom part of the world. We'll eventually encounter the Mistlands, and with the power of Modder, the tailwind is always with us, making our job way easier. While in the journey, in the middle of nowhere, I actually found this really small area. I guess we can call it an island. I just wanted to repair my boat since I accidentally hit it earlier. So I placed down a crafting table in this really small island and repaired my boat and resumed my journey. I then found another small area where we can set up a portal. I totally forgot to make the wisp light, so that's one of my goals right now, to return home, make a wisp light. I then went and fought Bonemass again as I needed his trophy once more so I can enchant our Wisp Light, so it has stats. For the enchantment, I got stamina, movement speed, pierce damage reduction, and physical damage reduction on the Wisp Light. That's pretty awesome. For now, I just tended at my base, planting even more onions before resuming our journey towards the Mistlands. I eventually stumbled on an island with a merchant. Let's go. The merchant here was hailed there, and she's not really selling a lot of stuff compared to Hador. Was it Hador? I don't remember. So once again, I headed out on a journey towards the Mistlands. And finally, we've reached it. Upon my boat hitting the rock, the mist suddenly disappeared because of my wisp light. So yeah, we reached the Mistlands, and this area is pretty bad. But anyways, I set up a portal in case we die, so we don't need to travel here again from very far. I'm pretty happy that the very first thing we see is the root that is glowing, where we can extract some of the thingies. I forgot what it's called. I continued on exploring the area and got myself some Jotun puffs, a new type of food, and found myself a Yggdrasil shoot. And by chopping this, we'll get some Yggdrasil wood, which enables us to make the black metal pickaxe and other stuff. While minding my own business, I don't know how this fueling got here. I guess there's a plain biome nearby. And it's pretty annoying because it's like fighting us while we're just chopping some wood. And I guess the noise of that fight attracted some seekers because they just went here flying to kill me. But thankfully, yeah, they're not really a threat. We're pretty tanky right now. And my Frostnir is doing massive damage to them. And they're being inflicted with frost. I guess it slows down their movement. I got myself a black metal pickaxe from killing one of them, which is pretty good. And we also have a carapace shield. The stats, though, weren't really as good as my legendary black metal shield right now, so I'm not gonna use it for now. And while exploring the deadly mist, I found myself a bunch of ticks trying to suck my blood and kill me. But well, they're just one shot on my mace. The annoying thing is they jump on your face and they suck your blood. And you can say I'm very lucky because I found this giant skeletal remains. For now, I made a portal and returned home. I'll be back. I then went back and started mining the petrified bonehead because I know there was some brain tissue in here. For some reason, the moment I entered the brain tissue, it just all broke and I got all the tissue. That's amazing. That's a complete save of time. I then resumed my journey and found one of the mines of these seekers. So after defeating the two seekers that were outside of this mine, I'm gonna head inside and see what I can get from here. I placed some portals first though. We might die, you know. It's dangerous here. Upon heading inside the infested mine, I was met with a lot of ticks that climbed on my back and sucked my blood, and the only way to remove them was to roll. They also drain my stamina, so I should really be careful regarding these ticks. I also found a bunch of seeker eggs here, and also royal jelly. This royal jelly will be used to make like the major healing potions. I also found a secret room which contained some coins and a chest. And also the black horse we were looking for inside the mines. I needed about 5 of these in order to make the black forge. So with the black forge, we can make the new weaponry. I continued raiding the mines in hopes that we could find more black horse so we can make the black forge. And after destroying a group of seekers, I found another secret room. And got more black horse out of this room. And from that adventure, I actually got myself a spinal tap with lifesteal. It's a new type of bow you get from the Mistlands. In total, I got only about 6 black cores, and that's enough to make the black forge. For now, I'm expanding my base. I'll be putting the black forge here and the future station that is for mages. And with this, we now have access to the new gears with the black forge. Anyways, this is it for our 100 days in Valheim with the EpicLootMod. So don't forget to click that like and subscribe button. Also, if you want to further support the channel, consider being a member. So yeah, thank you again guys for watching. Bye now.